I am unwell. This video is going to be my review for the Assassin's Creed movie. Oh my god! So, now, as an overall film, I really struggled to keep gripped to this, and I don't know why exactly. I found the pacing of the film to be off, and that made it hard to enjoy, because one moment things will be going super fast, the next they'll be going super slow, and you're thinking, come on, there's surely got to be a certain pace for it, because that all over the place sort of pace, it got to my head. The Animus scenes where where Callum Lynch is in the Animus, it's very hard to enjoy that as well, because the characters there have no personality whatsoever. They barely speak even. And also in the combat sequences, it would always flip back and forth to the modern day and the historical setting, and you'd see him picking up. I kind of like that just as much as I didn't. I found that they used it a bit excessively. However, I do kind of like that it showed how the bleeding effect was induced so quickly. But I still think it was induced a little bit too quick. That aside, what the fuck is that Crane Animus about? Now, it's not the worst feature of the film, nor do I really dislike it, but I mean, I haven't read Heresy, and apparently that does explain it quite a bit. But for the people who haven't read Heresy, could they at least do a little bit of explanation as to why the Animus is a massive fucking crane? Please? Though I get that it was to keep the entertainment in the modern day bits a little bit higher as well, because just lying in a chair would be boring. Explains the movie quite well, to be honest. However, I'm not going to complain about certain parts. Certain parts were really quite entertaining. Like, for example, the first time Callum Lynch is learning, well, when he's experiencing the bleeding effect and the physical symptoms with his capabilities and stuff like that, and he fights those guys who aren't there, and then guys come in to neutralise him and he fights them as well, just as good. I think that was pretty good, and other scenes also were quite good in the film. In the trailer, some things were said a little bit off. For example, Alan Rickman, what the fuck is that pronunciation? They traced Callum Lynch's bloodline back 500 years. In the trailer he said, to the Assassin's Creed, which was quite cringy, if I'm being honest with you. And then in the film he said to the Assassin Brotherhood. Oh, that made me feel so much better. When I heard it I was like, oh, that's good. At least they didn't fuck that one too badly. There were certain continuity issues as well within the franchise that it created. For example, this branch of Abstergo seems to have no idea whether or not the Apple of Eden is real or not, or at least Sophia Ricken implies that they do not know if the Apple of Eden is real or nay, when in reality, if you play the games, you'll know that they know that it's real, and they had some access at some certain points, and all in all they know that the pieces of Eden are real, so that really didn't make any sense. That made me want to drive my head through a wall. There are little bits of information in the film that surprised me a little bit. For example, that Callum Lynch was a descendant of Arno, which was pretty cool. But it's bridging relevance between the film and the games, which is exactly what's needed in reality, and if I'm honest, it didn't happen enough. But at least they swayed away from cheap references by just mentioning the name with vague relevance, like they did with they mentioned Ezio in Assassin's Creed 3 and such. Perhaps my biggest issue with the film is that the ending felt nothing like an ending. It just felt like it was leading into something, and then that something didn't come up. So I'd imagine it means that they were either preparing a sequel, which, looking at their box office business, it's probably not going to happen. But the ending wasn't the best. However, a few scenes before the ending, there was quite a good point with where everything's going to shit, and all the assassins or the assassin captains or whatever in the building sort of fight and stuff, and that's pretty good. I feel as if they were focusing too much on the action there, but at the same time I'm not going to fault them for it, because it was quite entertaining to watch that little bit. I think they scraped over Callum Lynch's backstory a little bit too quickly, because it was only a couple of minutes on the scene, and on screen even, and then it was straight to the part where the film sort of begins. By this point, I'm really surprised nobody's noticed why game movies flop so badly. It's because a game can be hours on end long. A film was about 2 hours long. This one wasn't even. And when you're trying to squeeze that down into 2 hours, you're not going to do very well, are you? So I was more, you know, it would probably be better if they did a series, like a television series or a Netflix series, which was like 12 20 whatever episode, about 10 episodes to 10 to 15 episodes long, something like that, then we'd have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of content. They wouldn't have to speed through certain bits, and the film sorry, not the film, the story, the continuity would be so much better and so much more easy to follow, and the pacing wouldn't be all over the shop, if you know what I mean. I also feel as if another mistake they made was by using too many established stars like Michael Fassbender, Marion Cotillard, Jeremy Irons, Brendan Gleeson, and Michael K. Williams. The list just goes on. In my opinion, the film wasn't, you know, it felt like you were watching those stars fuck around rather than watching the characters in the film. And that's what got to me, because they were all established stars. Like the majority of the cast, the main cast especially, were all established stars, and it didn't feel as if they really, you know, add any originality to the film, as you could just go watch another film and one of those stars will be in it. I feel as if they should have used some lesser known stars for the main majority of it, and maybe Michael Fassbender and a couple others, but no, they went with too many established stars, I think. Though in fairness, they did the best with the performance. I feel as if there was too much of them and too little of the characters they were supposed to be playing, because you want to look at that person and think the character, but instead you look at the character and think the person playing it, and it was kind of, you know, it did sort of break it a little bit for me, because I could just go and watch another film and half of the stars in it will be in that. I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating, but the point still stands that they probably used too many established actors and actresses. I really don't know what else to say about the film. All in all, I struggled to enjoy it. I enjoyed certain parts, but overall, I have enjoyed other films, and this one isn't going to be memorable for me, and I don't particularly fancy watching it again, so, you know, I guess that's how it is. I suppose you want me to give it a rating out of 10, but I don't know. Probably around the 5 mark. It wasn't too impressive, and it wasn't the worst film I've ever seen either. God knows I've seen worse films. But all in all, it's a tricky climb to watch. It's quite a strange paced film. If you're not a fan of Assassin's Creed, you probably struggle to enjoy it just as much as I did. I'm a fan of Assassin's Creed, and I understood the majority of it. It's just that it had so many setbacks that weren't related to its story that I don't feel as if it was really that great. But if, unlike me, you managed to enjoy it thoroughly, then good on you. I mean, I'm sure some people do. I'm sure it is good for some people. But for me, it wasn't quite what I had in mind when thinking about an Assassin's Creed movie. But at the same time, it could have panned out a lot worse. And by that, I mean it could have panned out like, oh no, all the Assassin's Creed characters have come out of the screen and are trying to kill me. No! That, or they could have tried to develop a character in a game into the film, which would have been horrible. But yeah, that's my review for the Assassin's Creed movie. Comme ci, comme ça. But thanks so much for watching my review. I'm now going to go back to bed because I feel like shit. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, and etc. And I'll see you all soon. So yeah. So yeah.